She's still there, inside you. Not just your mother, but the invisible weight of her presence, her expectations, her pain, her unlived dreams. Carl Jung called this the mother complex, a hidden force that shapes your choices, your fears, and even how you love. It's not about blaming her. It's about facing the truth that lives in your psyche. In this video, we'll dive deep into why you'll never fully heal until you confront this inner mother, and how Jung's wisdom can guide you to freedom. Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're living for someone else's approval? Stick around, because we're about to uncover the path to reclaiming you. Let's begin. Picture this: a woman named Sarah, in her 30s, sits in her therapist's office, unraveling years of feeling like she's never enough. She's successful, driven, yet something gnaws at her, a quiet voice whispering she's failing. No matter how much she achieves, she traces it back to her childhood, to a mother who loved her fiercely, but whose expectations felt like a weight she could never lift. Sound familiar? This isn't just Sarah's story, it's a universal one, rooted in what Carl Jung called the mother archetype. But here's the kicker: this archetype isn't just about your mom. It's a force far bigger, older, and more powerful, living deep in your psyche. In Jungian psychology, the mother archetype is a universal pattern, a blueprint etched into the collective unconscious of humanity. It's not limited to the woman who raised you. It's a timeless image that shows up in myths, dreams, and even the way we see the world. Think of Mother Earth, nurturing and abundant, or the fierce goddesses of ancient stories, like Kali, who create and destroy. Jung saw the mother as a paradox. She's both the comforter who holds you close and the force that can swallow you whole. She's life-giving, yet sometimes suffocating. She's safety, but also danger. This archetype isn't just a concept, it's alive in you. It shapes how you seek love, how you handle rejection, even how you talk to yourself. For Sarah, her mother's high expectations became a lens through which she saw her worth. Every promotion she chased, every late night at work, was a silent plea to prove she was enough, not just to her mom, but to this deeper, archetypal mother in her mind. Jung warned that when we don't understand this force, we confuse our real mother with this mythic image. And that's where the trouble starts. Let's break it down. The mother archetype has two faces: the great mother, who nurtures and protects, and the shadow mother, who controls and consumes. The great mother is the warm hug after a bad day, the voice that says, "You are enough." But the shadow mother, she's the one who whispers, "You'll never be good enough unless you do more." She shows up in myths as devouring dragons or possessive queens, and in real life as the unspoken rules you follow without questioning. For Sarah, the shadow mother was the guilt she felt when she dared to say no to her mom's demands, like skipping a family event to pursue her own dreams. Here's where it gets real. This archetype doesn't just live in your childhood memories, it plays out in your adult life, in ways you might not even notice. Ever find yourself chasing approval from a boss who reminds you of your mom's critical tone? Or maybe you avoid closeness in relationships because deep down, you fear being smothered, like you were as a kid. Jung called this the mother complex, a tangle of emotions and beliefs that keeps you stuck, replaying old patterns. For example, Mark, a 40-year-old teacher, realized he couldn't set boundaries with his partner because his mother's voice still echoed in his head. "Don't upset me, or you'll lose my love." That's the mother complex at work, holding him hostage. Jung's insight was revolutionary. The mother archetype isn't just personal, it's collective. It carries the weight of generations, Your mother's pain. Her mother's pain. The unspoken struggles of women through history, they all flow into this archetype. When Sarah felt unworthy, it wasn't just her mom's high standards. It was a legacy of women taught to shrink, to sacrifice, to silence their own needs. This is why facing the mother archetype isn't just about healing your relationship with your mom. It's about breaking a chain that stretches back centuries. So, why does this matter? Because until you see the mother archetype for what it is, a force bigger than your mom, bigger than you, you'll keep living in its shadow. You'll keep seeking love from people who can't give it, or running from closeness because it feels like a trap. Jung said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent." That's the key. Your mother's unlived dreams, her unhealed wounds. They're not yours to carry, but they will weigh you down until you choose to set them free. In the next part, we'll dive into the hidden wounds of the mother complex, how they show up in your life and keep you stuck. But for now, ask yourself, where do you feel the mother archetype in your life? Is it in the guilt that stops you from saying no, the fear that you're not enough? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a journey we're on together. Let's keep going. Picture yourself at a family dinner, heart racing as you muster the courage to share a dream, a new career, a move across the country, or maybe just a hobby you've always wanted to pursue. Before you can finish, your mother's voice cuts through. That's too risky. Why can't you just stick with what's safe? In that moment, you shrink, feeling like a child again, your confidence crumbling under her gaze. Fast forward to today, you're hesitating on a big decision, and that same voice echoes in your head. Don't take the risk. You'll fail. That's not just your mum talking, it's the mother complex. A hidden force that plants wounds so deep, they shape your entire life. In this chapter, we'll uncover the invisible scars of the mother complex, how they keep you stuck, and the first steps to breaking free. Carl Jung taught that the mother complex isn't just about your relationship with your mom. It's a web of emotions, beliefs, and patterns living in your psyche, quietly dictating how you see yourself and the world. When this complex is wounded, it leaves behind scars that show up in ways you might not even notice. These aren't random quirks, they're signs of a deeper struggle, rooted in the shadow of the archetypal mother. Let's dive into 4 key wounds that might be holding you back, with real stories, to show how they play out in everyday life. First, the relentless inner critic. Meet Emily, a 28-year-old graphic designer with a portfolio that turns heads. Yet, every time she submits a project, a voice whispers, "It's not perfect. They'll hate it." That voice isn't hers, it's her mother's, who always pointed out what Emily could have done better. From her school grades to her messy room, Jung called this the internalized shadow mother, a psychic echo that turns love into a checklist. If your mother's approval was tied to achievements, straight A's, perfect behavior, or flawless looks, you might carry this wound. 2. It shows up as perfectionism, self-doubt, or a fear of failure that stops you from chasing your dreams. Emily, for example, turned down a dream job at a creative agency because she was terrified of not being good enough. Sound familiar? Second, the fear of standing alone. Think about James, a 35-year-old accountant who dreams of starting his own business. Every time he gets close to taking the leap, he freezes, paralyzed by the thought of disappointing his mother, who always said, "Don't rock the boat. Stay safe." Jung saw this as a hallmark of the mother complex, a tug-of-war between craving freedom and fearing it. If your mother leaned on you emotionally, maybe she shared her struggles or made you her confidant, you might feel like your independence is a betrayal. James once cancelled a meeting with a potential investor because he couldn't shake the guilt of abandoning his mother's expectations. This wound keeps you tethered, making every big decision feel like a step into the unknown, fraught with danger. Third, the trap of people-pleasing. Lisa, a 42-year-old nurse, says yes to everyone, her boss's extra shifts, her friends' last-minute favors, her family's endless demands, until she's burned out, with no energy left for herself. She grew up with a mother who only showed love when Lisa put others first, praising her for being selfless. Jung explained this as the ego wearing the mask of the good child, trained to abandon your own needs to keep the peace. If saying no feels like a crime or setting boundaries makes you feel selfish, this wound is at work. Lisa once missed her own birthday celebration to help a colleague, only to realize later she was living for others' approval, not her own happiness. It's not just about being nice, it's about believing your worth depends on making others happy. Fourth, repeating toxic patterns in relationships. Ever wonder why you keep falling for the same kind of partner? Take Alex, a 30-year-old writer who always ends up with controlling partners. Growing up, his mother's love came with strings. She'd guilt-trip him if he didn't follow her rules, like staying home instead of pursuing his passion for travel. Jung said the mother complex can turn relationships into mirrors of your childhood wounds. You might chase partners who feel familiar, even if they hurt you, because your psyche is trying to fix the past. Alex realized his last 3 relationships ended because he was drawn to people who echoed his mother's controlling nature, hoping each time to win the love he never fully felt. This isn't fate, it's the unconscious, replaying old scripts, searching for a different ending. These wounds aren't just personal, they're generational. Jung believed the mother complex carries the weight of your mother's pain. Her mother's pain, and the struggles of women through history. When Emily doubts herself, it's not just her mom's voice, it's a legacy of women taught to stay small, to silence their needs. When James hesitates, it's not just fear, it's the echo of his mother's unlived dreams, passed down like emotional DNA. The mother complex doesn't just hold you back, it binds you to a story that isn't yours. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You're standing at the edge of a dark forest, and somewhere deep within, there's a figure, a version of your mother, but not the one you know. She's the shadow mother, the one who holds your fears, your guilt, and the parts of you that feel unworthy. She's not evil, but she's powerful, and until you face her, she'll keep pulling you back, keeping you small. Carl Jung believed that confronting this shadow is the key to unlocking your freedom. In this chapter, we'll walk you through how to face the shadow mother head-on, with practical steps to break free from her grip and step into your own power. Jung taught that the shadow mother isn't just your mum's flaws, it's the dark side of the mother archetype, the part that controls, consumes, or makes you feel like you're never enough. She lives in your psyche, whispering doubts or guilt whenever you try to step out of line. For many, facing her feels terrifying, like staring into a void. But here's the truth, she's not your enemy. She's a gatekeeper, guarding the treasure of your true self. To claim it, you need courage, not to fight her, but to understand her and let her go. Let's meet Rachel, a 34-year-old teacher who always felt trapped by her mother's need for control. Growing up, Rachel's mum would guilt-trip her for wanting to spend time with friends, saying, "You're all I have." Now, as an adult, Rachel struggles to set boundaries, feeling selfish every time she says no. That's the shadow mother at work, making Rachel believe her freedom comes at the cost of love. Jung said this fear is universal, it's not just personal. It's archetypal. Rooted in the collective unconscious, the shadow mother thrives in silence. But when you shine a light on her, her power begins to fade. So, how do you face her? Jung's method, called active imagination, is a powerful tool to confront the shadow mother. It's like having a conversation with the part of you that's stuck. Here's how it works. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and picture the shadow mother. Maybe she looks like your mom, or maybe she's a mythic figure, a queen, a dragon, or a storm. Ask her, "What do you want from me? Why are you here?" Let her speak, and listen without judgment. Rachel tried this and was stunned to hear her shadow mother say, "I'm scared you'll leave me." That moment of clarity helped Rachel see her mother's control wasn't about power, it was about fear. This dialogue isn't just therapy. It's a sacred act of reclaiming your voice. Another step is to name the wound. Write a letter to your mother, not to send, but to release. Pour out everything you've held back. The anger, the hurt, the love you never got. Beraf. Be honest. For example, Michael, a 39-year-old chef, wrote a letter to his mother, who criticized his every move growing up. He wrote, "I needed you to see me, not just my mistakes." After burning the letter in a small backyard ritual, he felt lighter, like he'd set down a weight he'd carried for decades. Jung believed these acts of expression, writing, speaking, even crying, are like rituals that free the soul from the shadow's grip. Next, set boundaries with love. Facing the shadow mother isn't about cutting ties, it's about creating space for you to exist. If your mother is still in your life, practice saying no to small things first. Rachel started by telling her mom, "I can't talk tonight, but let's plan for tomorrow." It felt uncomfortable, but it was a step toward freedom. If your mother is no longer around, set boundaries with her voice in your head. When you hear, "You're selfish for choosing yourself," respond, "I'm allowed to live my life." Jung called this individuation the process of becoming your own person, not a shadow of someone else's story. Finally, reclaim the light. The shadow mother isn't the whole story, there's also the nurturing, creative side of the mother archetype. Start mothering yourself. Rest when you're tired. Celebrate your wins. Speak kindly to yourself. Rachel began journaling every night, writing one thing she was proud of. Like, "I stood up for myself today." Over time, she felt a warmth growing inside, like the great mother archetype was waking up. Jung saw this as reconnecting with the feminine principle, intuition, creativity, and self-love. Facing the shadow mother isn't easy. It's a journey through grief, rage, and vulnerability. But every step you take weakens her hold and strengthens you. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to let go of the mother complex entirely, stepping into a life where you're the author of your own story. For now, try this. Write down one thing the shadow mother says to you, and one truth you want to replace it with. Share it in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to start their journey. Let's keep moving forward. To deepen this process, let's consider another story. Meet Sarah, a 45-year-old lawyer who always felt like she was living for her mother's approval. Her mom praised her for achievements, but ignored her emotions, leaving Sarah with a belief that her feelings didn't matter. Through active imagination, Sarah visualized her shadow mother as a towering figure, demanding perfection. When she asked, "Why do you push me so hard?" the figure replied, "Because I was never enough." This revelation showed Sarah that her mother's demands were rooted in her own unhealed wounds, passed down through generations. This insight didn't erase the pain, but it gave Sarah permission to stop carrying it. Another practical step is to create a ritual of release. Jung believed rituals mark transformation in the psyche. After writing your letter, you might burn it, bury it, or even speak it aloud to the wind. Michael, the chef, found that speaking his letter aloud in an empty park felt like breaking a spell. He said, "It was like telling my younger self, 'You're free now.'" These acts don't just heal, they rewire your psyche, telling it the old story is over. As you face the shadow, expect resistance. Jung warned that the psyche clings to familiar pain, even when it hurts. You might feel guilt, fear, or even grief as you let go. That's normal. It's the child within you mourning the love you didn't get. Embrace those feelings. They're part of the alchemy. By facing the shadow mother, you're not just healing yourself, you're breaking a cycle for future generations, becoming what Jung called a conscious ancestor. You've just walked through a sacred journey, one that began with a whisper in your psyche and ends with a truth you can't unsee. The mother complex, that invisible force Carl Jung warned us about, isn't just a shadow holding you back. It's a doorway to your freedom. By facing the mother archetype, uncovering the hidden wounds, and staring down the shadow mother, you've taken the first steps to break free from a story that was never yours to carry. This isn't about blaming your mom or rewriting the past. It's about reclaiming you, the you who deserves to live boldly, love fiercely, and dream without guilt. Think about it every time you say no to guilt. Every time you choose yourself over someone else's expectations, you're rewriting the script. You're not just healing your own wounds, you're breaking a chain that stretches back generations. Jung called this individuation the sacred act of becoming whole, of stepping into your own power as the author of your life. It's not easy. It's messy, rough, and sometimes painful. But on the other side of that pain is a freedom you can't imagine, a life where you no longer shrink to fit someone else's story. So, where do you go from here? Start small. But start now. Write that letter to your shadow mother and burn it under the stars. Say no to one thing that doesn't serve you. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, "I am enough." These aren't just actions. They're declarations of your sovereignty. And you don't have to walk this path alone. Share your story in the comments below. What's one wound you're ready to release? Or one truth you're ready to claim? Your words might light the way for someone else still lost in the dark. If this journey stirred something in you, if it felt like a mirror to your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend struggling to break free, or a loved one carrying invisible weight. Hit that like button to let us know you're with us. And subscribe to Jung Psyche Hub with the bell icon, so you never miss a step on this path to self-discovery. We're here, diving deep into the psyche, uncovering the truths that set us free. What's a topic you'd love us to explore next? Drop it in the comments. Your voice shapes this space. This is your moment. The mother complex doesn't own you anymore. You are not her echo. You are the fire, the creator, the one who gets to write the next chapter. Step into it. The world is waiting for the real you.